Here. Today we're going to be talking about the Summit Series, which was very historically significant to Canada. Now, here's some context about it. After World War II, once allies of the Soviet Union decided to become enemies, this period was known as the Cold War. And since, in 1970, many professional players were banned from the IIHF, the Soviets were dominating it left and right, and they didn't like that. They wanted to face the best of the best, which was known as the Canadians. Now, an 8-game series was created. This was called the Summit Series, where it would be the Soviets versus Canada. This was created in 1972.
The duration of the first 4 games of the series were as the following. The Soviets won 7-3 in Montreal. They tied 4-4 in Winnipeg. Canada won 4-1 in Toronto, and the Soviets won 5-3 in Vancouver. Canadians were outraged all over the country. They even booed their team off the ice. They were hoping for better results in Moscow. The team shipped off to Europe and played 2 games at exhibition in Sweden, just to get used to the European officiating and bigger ice surfaces. Team Canada carried on to Moscow and played the final games of the series. The outcomes were as followed. The Soviets won 5-4 in Moscow, Canada won 3-2, and Canada won 4-3.
Go.
Okay, so basically, by the IIHF rules, the Soviets would win the series if it ended in a tie because of the point differential in the Soviets' favor. In the finals game, the Soviets went into the third period with a 5-3 lead, and it seemed they were guaranteed a victory. Although the Canadians were able to come back with a goal by both Phil Esposito and Wyvern Courtenay to tie the game with only 34 seconds left. Paul Henderson from Kincardine, Ontario, scored the winning goal. Henderson's goal is still considered one of the greatest moments in Canadian sport history.
Don't walk.
Here's the legacy of this series, okay? So the series saw passionate nationalism for both the Canada and Soviet Union sides. Many fans traveled to Moscow from Canada. There's an estimated 15 to 20 million Canadians watching on TV for the final game, and some businesses even shut down. Across Canada, the land cheered as Hockey Night in Canada play-by-play broadcaster Foster Hewitt announced, "Henderson has scored the winning goal for Canada!" Due to the series, so Canada solidified its international role as a hockey superpower and then paved the road for dominance that we take for granted today. Therefore, the 1972 Summit Series is an iconic event and is a defining moment that brought a lot of Canadians together.
Hey guys, Rick Mercer here, and that's our video for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, next week we'll be going over snow. Is it really frozen water?
That's Rick Mercer!